The goal in Yu-Gi-Oh is simple. Reduce your opponent's life points from 8,000 down to 0. You can do this by attacking with your monsters and using various card effects. There are also some spicy alternative ways to win, like the opponent running out of cards in their deck, or with cards having unique abilities that just instantly win you the duel if a certain condition is met. The most iconic of these, of course, being Exodia the Forbidden One. Once you gather all 5 special cards in your hand, you instantly win the duel. However, for today, let's keep things simple and focusing on winning through damage. So, I'd like to welcome you all to the Idiot's Guide to How to Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels take place on a dueling field. On your field, you have the Monster Zone. This is where your monsters can be summoned to. You can have a maximum of 5 monsters on the field at a time. Spell and Trap Zones. These 5 zones are where you activate or set your spell and trap cards. You can have up to 5 spells and traps on the field at one time. Deck Zone is where your deck of between 40 and 60 cards goes. Graveyard Zone. This is where cards go after they've been used or destroyed. Banish Zone. This is where cards go when they've been banished from the game. Field Zone. This zone is exclusively for field spell cards. Extra Deck Zone. This is for your special extra deck monsters. These include Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Link monsters. You can have 15 extra deck monsters in this deck. Extra Monster Zone. This zone is used exclusively for monsters summoned from your extra deck. A player can only use 1 extra monster zone at a time. With the field explained, it's time to talk about the real stars of the shows, the cards. There are 3 main types you'll use in a duel: monsters, spells, and traps. Monster cards are your attackers and your defenders. They have attack points and defense points. Monsters also have a level, indicated by a number of stars shown on their cards. These stars refer to how powerful cards are and factor into the difficulty of summoning them to the field. Low-level monsters, which are monsters between levels 1 to 4, can be summoned straight to the field. Monsters level 5 to 6 require you to tribute a monster on the field for their summon, and monsters that are level 7 and higher require 2 tributes to be summoned. Monster cards can also have effects. Those that can are orange in color. You can see what they can do by what is written in their effect box. Spell cards. These green cards grant you various effects, like drawing more cards, destroying opponent's cards, or boosting your monster's power. Spell cards come in a variety of different types as well. How you know which one is which is by the symbol that appears here. A normal spell, which after you activate it, it goes straight to the grave. A continuous spell, when you activate it, it stays on the field. A quick play spell, which allows you to activate it instantaneously, even during your opponent's turn. A equip spell, which can equip to one of your monsters. And finally, a field spell, which goes to the field spell zone we discussed earlier. And to be technical, there's also a ritual spell card, but that's not too important for today's video, so we're going to leave that one. Trap cards. These reddish cards are sneaky. You set them face down in your spell and trap zone, and then you can activate them during your opponent's turn to surprise them with a devastating effect. Like spell cards, trap cards also come in a variety of different types. How you know which one is which is by the symbol that appears here. These are normal trap cards. Once you use them, they go straight to the grave. Continuous trap cards that remain on the field after being activated. And finally, counter trap cards, which are essentially cards that typically your opponent can't respond to. Now, because this is just a beginner's guide, I won't go into more detail about these cards, but I have an advanced version you can watch here to go into even more detail about each of those cards. But for now, let's move into... A duel is made up of turns, and each turn has 6 different phases. The key phases you need to know are, in order, the draw phase. This is where you draw 1 card from your deck to start your turn. The standby phase. This is a quick phase where certain card effects might activate. Main phase 1. This is where you can do a bunch of different things. It is where you can normal summon or set a monster. Keep in mind, you can only normal summon a monster or set a monster once per turn. To normal summon, you play a monster from your hand face up in attack position. To set a monster, you play it face down in defense position. You can also special summon monsters. Special summoning is when an effect brings a monster to the field. You can special summon monsters into face-up attack or face-up defense as many times as you'd like in a single turn. You can also, during your main phase, activate your spell cards, set your trap cards face down. They become live and ready to use as soon as the next turn begins onwards. Finally, you can change the battle positions of your monsters. Each of your monsters can only change its battle position once per turn this way. Also, keep in mind, you can't change the battle positions of monsters the turn they are summoned. After the main phase 1, we move into the battle phase. This is where your monsters can attack. You can declare an attack with your face-up attack position monsters. Each monster can attack once per turn. Who wins a fight is determined by their attack and defense points. Whoever has the higher number wins. For example, my attack position monster attacks an opponent's attack position monster. Their monster has less attack than mine, so their monster is destroyed, and the difference between the two monsters' attack is dealt as damage to the opponent's life points. Alternatively, if my attack position monster attacks an opponent's defense position monster, and their monster's defense is less than my monster's attack, then their monster is destroyed, but no damage is dealt, since their monster was defending. Now, if my attack position monster was to attack an opponent's attack position monster, but their attack is higher, then it's my monster that is destroyed instead, and I take damage equal to the difference. Alternatively, if my attack position monster attacks an opponent's defense position monster, but their defense is higher than my monster's attack, then my monster isn't destroyed, since their monster was in defense, but I take damage equal to the difference. Finally, if two attack position monsters that have the same attack points attack each other, both are destroyed and no damage is dealt. In contrast, if my attack position monster attacks an opponent's defense position monster that has the same defense points as my monster's attack points, then after the attack, nothing happens and neither is destroyed. But what happens if your opponent has no monsters on the field during the battle phase? Well, you can attack them directly. This means the full attack of your monster is dealt as damage to the opponent. So as you can see, attacking your opponent's monsters and them directly is how you win duels. After we are done battling, we move into the main phase 2. This is your second chance to play spells, set traps, activate monster effects, or summon more monsters if you can. Finally, we move to the end phase. Your turn officially ends here, and now your opponent gets to do all these steps. We go back and forth this way until one of us runs out of life points, and then whoever did, congratulations! You've just won your first Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel. Now those are the absolute necessities you need to know to play Yu-Gi-Oh! However, there is one more thing I want to teach you, and that is extra deck summoning before you leave. Keep in mind, you don't have to play extra deck monsters, but they offer a lot of versatility and really expand the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's go through how to summon them. Remember when I told you about the extra deck and you can have 15 different extra deck monsters in there? Well, that's what these guys are. There are 4 different types: Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Link. Let's start first with Fusion monsters. The purple cards are 2 monsters that have been merged together by the spell card Polymerization. To fusion summon, look at your fusion monster and see what monsters it is made up of. If you have them in your hand or on your field, you can activate Polymerization to fuse them together by sending them to the grave. You then summon that fusion monster. You can summon it to either a main monster zone or the extra monster zone. For example, I want to summon Flame Wingman. Its materials are Elemental Hero Avion and Elemental Hero Bastinatrix. Since I have these cards, I activate Polymerization, fusing them both together to fusion summon Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. Synchro monsters are the white cards. To make these monsters, it requires you to look at the level of the Synchro monster. To perform a Synchro summon, you need 2 specific types of monsters on the field. a tuner, identifiable by the word tuner on the card, and a regular monster. Finally, you need their levels combined to equal the level of the synchro monster you want to summon. If all is correct, you send the monsters on the field to the grave to synchro summon your monster to either a main monster zone or the extra monster zone. For example, I want to summon Stardust Dragon. Its level is 8. I have a level 2 tuner and a regular level 6 monster on my field. 6 plus 2 equals 8. So, since these are the requirements, I can synchro summon Stardust Dragon. Xyz monsters are the black cards. To Xyz summon, you also look at your Xyz monster's level, which is called a rank on these cards. To Xyz summon, you need 2 monsters on the field that are the same level as the Xyz monster's rank. Instead of sending the materials to the grave, however, instead you stack them on top of each other and then summon the Xyz monster on top of them. You can summon the monster to either a main monster zone or the extra monster zone. The purpose of stacking the cards is that to use that monster's effect, it will normally ask you to send one of those materials to the grave to use its effect. Meaning when you run out of its materials, it usually means no more effects. As an example, I want to summon number 39 Utopia. It's a rank 4. I have 2 level 4 monsters on the field, so I can overlay them on top of each other and then Xyz summon number 39 Utopia. Finally, we have link monsters, the dark blue cards. To link summon, you look at the link rating on the monster's card. That is the number in the corner. Link monsters don't care about levels. They instead require a specific number of monsters to be sent to the grave to be summoned. How many monsters that need to be sent to the grave is equal to their link rating. A link monster can only be summoned to the extra monster zone or a zone a link monster points to, as you might have noticed that they have arrows on them, which point to different zones. You'll also notice that link monsters don't have any defense points. This is because they are incapable of being put into defense mode under any circumstances. As an example, I want to summon Decode Talker. Its link rating is 3. So since I have 3 monsters on the field, I can send all 3 to the grave to link summon it to the field. If I wanted to be a little bit clever as well, an advanced move is that you can also use a link monster as a material to summon another link monster. In which case, that link monster can be treated as several monsters equal to its link rating. Using the example of Decode Talker again, if I have a link 2 monster on my field alongside another monster, this would also work. Since the link 2 is treated as 2 monsters, with the additional monster, that adds up to 3. Now keep in mind, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Everything I've just told you, most likely there will be a card that will break these rules to some degree, because that's just the way the Yu-Gi-Oh is sometimes. Yu-Gi-Oh is a very simple game at its core to learn, but it is very complex in where you go after it. It opens up a massive world. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, but I will leave some links to some of my other guides if you'd like to watch something else to go into a bit of a more advanced thing. I would highly recommend, if you want to go learn the game and you enjoy the anime, to play a game like Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, Link Evolution. But you can also get away with playing Master Duel, but I would definitely stick to playing solo mode and learn the mechanics as much as possible first, because the ranked mode is very, very, very difficult. Thanks for watching, everyone. Catch you later.